In a previous video, we took a look at how you can replace the background in Luminar AI using textures. Today, I want to take that a little step further and see what kind of fun we can have with blend modes. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Hi, my name is William Beem. I'm a photographer in Central Florida. And if you're new here, welcome. I've got a lot of information for you about Luminar AI. And if you've come back, welcome back. I really appreciate you for that. Please go ahead, take a look at the description below. I've got some coupon codes that may help you out with some things, including saving money on Luminar AI. And also I've got a course on Luminar AI, so you can find the link for that in the description below. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our first photo. We've got a few of them that I want to go through here and just kind of show you what we can do with some blend modes and some interesting textures. Okay, so this is a photo I have of Spaceship Earth at Epcot. And what I want to do is kind of make a funky little design with color patterns on the side of Spaceship Earth. So we're in local masking. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add a texture. And let's go ahead and click Load Texture. And I'm going to choose this design. This is just some backdrops that I found on a site called freepick.com. And if you'd like, you can go there and find some things like this. So click Open. And right off the bat, it gives some things on Spaceship Earth, but it also kind of blocks the sky. We're going to have to do a little bit of masking, but I think there's some things that we can do to make this look a little better. Let's go down to Advanced, and we're going to go into our blend modes and just kind of move on down to see until we find something that we like. And I'm looking kind of like either overlay or soft light or even hard light. I'm going to try overlay. The first thing you need to think of, even though the pattern isn't very strong here, is make sure you bring the opacity up to see what the pattern is going to look like. And if you like that, then really all you need to do, if you want to, is get rid of the stuff that's over here on the side. And I'm going to click on the erase brush. And I'm going to kind of work on the outside edges first. So let me make my brush a little bit bigger. And just kind of erase this stuff that I don't need. I'm not worried about making mistakes because you can always go back and add to or take off whatever you want. And that's probably about as close as I want to get. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my brush softness to hardness. I'm just going to make it a pretty hard brush. And I'm going to make the size a little bit smaller. And I'm going to come down here on the sides and just kind of go along the edge. I don't mind if I go over a little bit on some of these little spots, because as you see, you don't really tell the difference if just the tip of it doesn't have the mask on it. So this is something that if you have something that's like a bright metal, I think it works very well with this kind of design. And you don't have to be super accurate to try and go in there and nudge every little detail. Just get a hard edge. And let's go over and fix this one a little bit. And that was pretty quick and easy. Just going ahead, putting on a texture overlay. I put it in the blend mode overlay, brought the opacity all the way up. And just like that, I've got a quick change. Let's take a look at our before and after. So we came from here and went over here. Let's go grab another photograph. One of the things I kind of like doing is something that I can do with a person. And in this case, I'm just going to change the color of the person's skin. So we're going to get a different texture on here. So I'm going to choose this banner cyan color. It's just a solid color. And when I put the texture on, it's going to cover everything. So again, we're going to come down here to our advanced settings. And instead of going down to overlay, which gives a kind of a very soft tint, I'm going to come down here to hue. And I'm going to bring the opacity up. And it's kind of masked out everything. The white background works very nicely. So if you have a subject on a white background, you don't have to go back and brush that out. Otherwise, you'd probably have to do the same as we did with Spaceship Earth and kind of brush out where you didn't want it, because it'll affect, different colors. But you can also kind of come down here with the hue and change things around a little bit and decide if you want someone to be, a Smurf, a purple meanie, or whatever color you want. And you can do this with different textures. So we can come over here to load texture again. Let's choose purple. And we've changed the skin mode that way. And again, when we start playing with our hue, we can start moving things around based upon that as our base. Okay, so let's go back. If you're wondering how this works with dark skin, let's find out. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to load a texture. I'm going to select blue, only because we haven't chosen that one yet. We'll come down to advanced settings. And again, I'm going to go down to hue. And so you can see you've got a darker tone, as you might expect. And again, you can go back and play with the hue and make the changes that you want. And you can kind of pull with your saturation, pull that down a little bit and push it up, however you want to do it. So it's just a quick way if you want to do something to put a texture on a person's skin. Again, we didn't have to use this with a solid color. We could have done this with one of the other textures that we were talking about. So let's go back over to our previous one. And so you can see we've taken the same thing and applied it to her. And you can change, the zoom of this in and out. So it's unfortunately, you can't reorient it. In other words, if it is a landscape photo that you use for your texture, you can't change it into a portrait mode here. You can flip it back and forth from side to side or up and down, but there's nothing here that lets you really rotate, at least not that I've found. So you may have to work something out. If you want to do this as, let's say, a portrait orientation, you may have to save your texture as a portrait orientation before you apply it, if that's what you need to do. So there's just a couple of things we can do there. All right, so we've done it with a couple of people. Let's see what happens if we do it with a fish. I'm going to add a water texture. And again, we can come down here. We can change our blend modes. I think in this case, is darken or multiply going to work best? We can get some really funky looking things coming down here. And if that's what your pleasure is, by all means, go for it. I want to select darken, and I'm going to bring the opacity up a bit more. And what I want to do is, again, I want to go back to erase, and I just want to take that water off of my fish. All right, let's take a look. And there you go. You got a fish hopping over a bubbling flow of water. You can use this to be creative. You can use this to create something just a little bit funky, a little bit different. And I think it's interesting that you can apply these textures and you don't necessarily have to make something that looks like a canvas backdrop on a subject. It does work best on a photograph that's on a white background. We can do it a little bit on something that isn't a white background, as we did over here with Spaceship Earth. And if we look at that one, and if you remember, all we had to do was just go erase the area that we didn't want to be in. So I think a simple photo probably works best, something that's clean. It doesn't have too much clutter or background in it. But the idea is that you can go ahead and use some blend modes and then brush in or brush out what you want to apply an interesting texture or pattern of colors on your subject or on the background of your subject. So I hope you found that a little bit interesting. Thanks very much for checking out this little demonstration of blend modes. And if you like this, please go ahead, click the like button. That tells YouTube that we're doing something right, and they'll share this with other people. If you really like it, share it with a friend. Let them see it. Go ahead, click subscribe. And if you want to, click the bell notification icon so you get a notice the next time I put a video out. Thanks very much. We'll see you in the next video.